In this tutorial, we will expand on our insurance agent display form from our previous lecture by adding the functionality to insert a new insurance agent into the database. This will mean expanding the Struts to action save method to be able to insert a new insurance agent in the database. This action will in turn call a new implemented Spring JDBC template method that will insert the new insurance agent in the MariaDB database table. For my YouTube students, there will be a link in the description to my Udemy course where you will be able to download the source code for all the examples. These are the high-level steps we will do so that we can insert a new insurance agent into the database. First, we will reuse our previously created project. Then we will update the agent list form with an insert action link. We will fix our active and expense bugs that we discovered in our previous lecture. We will expand the insurance action method to be able to do a database insert, and we will also obviously run our main method test. And finally, we will test the JSP insert and the insert action in the Tomcat Service with Eclipse. Back in Eclipse, and we will copy our previous project. We'll rename it to CRUD9. We will do a global search and replace of all references to CRUD8 in the files. Now we will do a Maven update. We will run a Maven clean package on our POM file. And now we'll run the CRUD9 project on our Tomcat server to make sure everything works. Everything looks good. And what we are going to do now is add a link to allow users to insert a new insurance agent, which will bring up this form, of course with no pre-populated values, and allow the user to submit a new insurance agent. We will go to our agent.jsp and add the insert agent link. We already have the show agent URL that is used for our edit link. And now we're going to use the show agent URL for our insert agent link. I'll just paste it in. So this will also forward to the show agent, but this will not include an agent ID. So let's go to our struts.xml and see how our show agent action is defined. Our show agent simply forwards to register, and let's have a look at register.jsp. We already have some logic in here that decides what the title should be. So let's see what happens if we run it now. Here is our add new agent link, and we immediately run into an error on agent action line 76. And of course, we are not checking for a null or an unpopulated agent ID, so it throws a null exception on integer parse int. So we can go ahead and fix that. We will add a null check. And that would hopefully take care of our null pointer exception. So let's run it again. Now that looks better. We see an unpopulated add new insurance agent form with a submit button. And of course the submit button currently doesn't have the functionality to insert a new value. If we go back to our agent action, we see that if we get a null value, it simply forwards back to the list screen. And there we have it in action. Now something we picked up in our previous tutorial is these two displays of active and expense fields does not match what is in the database. So let's go back to our Spring JDBC template configuration or Spring JDBC template implementation method that gets these values back to display. So that would be the get all agents. And that probably means there is some problem with our logic in here that sets the Boolean value from a yes or a no value, which right away, see, we don't compare it to a y or an n. So that might be it, right? So let's do this. Now we have a lot more logging, and we actually use comparison to an uppercase y. So let's run this now and see if this resolves our bug with listing the agents and the expense and active values. Let's have a look. Nope. Well, we probably also need to change the value in the agents.jsp as well. Let's replace these two columns. And now we will try again. Now that looks much better. So it looks like we've managed to resolve that bug. And now we can go back to putting our full attention to inserting a new insurance agent. So now if we go back to our agent action, we currently only have the update agent logic for our save method. So we're going to have to add an else for an insert here. And this in turn would mean adding a new insert agent to our agent service interface and our agent service interface implementation. You can see we're going to return an integer value that we get back from the database on the insert. And we'll use Eclipse to add unimplemented methods. Here is our unimplemented insert agent method. Once again, to speed things up, I'm just going to paste in the code. So we get the agent, we set the agent state ID, we run an insert into insurance agent query, we set up the query parameters, we set up the query parameter types, and then we also call the JDBC template update with query parameters and types, and we return the number of rows updated. Now, before we implement the insert agent in our Struts 2 application, we are going to go back to our main method test driver and add a test to make sure that everything works in here. Now we have a chance here to insert the zombie agent. So let's add some code here to insert the zombie agent. So we set the generated ID to 0. We run the insert agent. We print the generated ID. Then we get all the agents and we print all the agents. For now, we can comment out the update agent. Let's run our Spring main method test driver and look at the results. Run as Java application. Data too long for column company at row 1. Let's shorten our company name for now just to get past this problem. That looks much better. And if we look at our output, it did add the new insurance agent. We can go back to our database and run our database query. And here we can see that the database was updated with the new insurance agents. So now that we've tested, we can go back and test our Struts 2 application with our JSP forms and action. We will have to do a Maven update and a Maven clean package first. Now we can run it. And we select the add new agent link and we'll add a new insurance agent. And submit. And there we have it. It works. Now immediately we see another bug. It looks like on the insert our yes, no, true, false problem reappeared, which probably means we need to do a little fix up in our SQL statement that we pass through the JDBC template. And we will look at that in our next tutorial where we're going to add a delete button. And that concludes our tutorial.